Alright, welcome back. If you're new here and this is your first video, I'm Eduardo Talbert, and this channel is Monster Tutorials, and we just make cool, creepy stuff and we hang out. So after you watch this video, consider subscribing to this channel. In today's video, we're going to take one of these bird skeletons, and transform it into something else. What happened was last October, and I'll link the video below, I did a shopping vlog, and one of the places I stopped was at the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, and they had these birds for $1. I bought 3 of them, and I should have bought all of them because I came back and they were sold out. And the next place I found one, which was at a craft store, they wanted $12. And then at the grocery store they had one with a cage for $19. So anyway, I was able to get 3 of these, and one of these just sat at the top of my horror Christmas tree. But I wanted to do something else, so I came up with this tutorial. So we're going to take this and turn it into a zombie bird that looks like this. So we're going to add the flesh, feathers, the eyes, the hanging eye, and then the stain in general plus the blood. That's what we're doing today. So let's go back to the studio and let's kick this off. Okay, so I got this reading glasses and I can see up close, but I cannot even see the camera. So anyway, for this tutorial we're going to need a bird skeleton. We're going to use one of these. We're going to need some beads. These are some broken beads I found in New Orleans just walking around. I picked up a few, washed them, and I used them for eyeballs and other things. That's going to be for the eyes. Feather boa, whatever color you want your bird to be. This is going to be a zombie crow, so I have black, but you can do whatever color. Some foam, and that's about it for now. So the technique we're going to use for corpsing this bird and turning it into the zombie bird or the Zombird is the technique we used on this skull. The only thing we're going to be careful is to not make it so thick, like that. See that, how thick it turned out? But instead of the thinner areas like that. Now this technique you can use like on a bird, on a dog, or even a full-size skeleton like our friend right here. Just make sure you scale your work to match the size of your little critter. So let's get started. I'm going to take 2 of these beads for the eyeballs, and I'm going to paint them with black enamel, or you can use spray paint or whatever. So I'm just going to cut them and paint them and set them aside. Let's start corpsing this guy. First thing we're going to need is expanding foam. Now this part is very messy, and this stuff is kind of nasty if you get on your skin. You can always peel it off, but you have no idea what kind of chemicals are going straight into your skin, so use gloves. And for this we're going to use only a little bit of this. So make sure you have some carburetor cleaner or some sort of solvent too, if you want to save the rest of your can. If you want to see how I save the rest of this, just go to the tutorial, which I'll link below, for this skull. There I'll show you how I save the rest of the can and clean all this. All I'm going to do is spray a little bit here in the middle, and then with my hands rub it in different areas where I want there to be some flesh. I am not going to cover the whole bird, just little areas, like a little bit on the chest, maybe a little touch on the head, wings. I'm not going to do the legs at all because they're supposed to be all bony. Maybe a little bit on the backbone and the tail. Just rub it and massage it into your bird. See that? A little bit of meat on the backbone, this butt bones, wings, put a tiny little bit on the head, not on the beak. And let's do the chest. A little bit inside of the chest so it looks like kind of like guts in there. Once you're done, just let it sit, and this stuff will expand over time, and we can decide if we need more or if it's good enough. Also, if you put a little too much in an area, you can always peel it off, or you can use a knife to just carve through it once it hardens into a hard foam. So after 15 minutes, as you can see, that little bit of foam we put has expanded quite a bit. So we have good fleshy spots. See the difference? Got that wing, chicken breast, and the head, just a little. For this next step, I'm just going to drill out these eyes with this big drill bit to put the little beads that I have over here that I painted earlier for the eyes. Alright, there you go. I drilled both eyes out. So now I'm going to take the beads, separate them. These are just the little necklace beads that I painted black. I'm going to take one of these and glue it in the eye. Okay, and the other one I'm going to glue to a piece of string so it hangs down the side like it's a dangling eye. There you go. All this glue will paint it red to look like blood or like flesh. On the opposite side, I'm just gluing a little piece of string to the other bead, and then I'm going to glue it to the back of the eye socket, and it's going to hang probably an inch or so below the beak. We'll flesh this and the string in the next step. Just like that. There we have a hanging eye. There you go. For this next step, I'm going to make this a little fleshy, and what I'm going to do is use the same technique that we used on the severed head, where we made pieces of flesh out of like liquid latex. And just to recap, how it's better seen on that video, so if you can go back and watch it, that'll explain it better. So I'll put the link below. But just quickly, I take liquid latex, mix it with red food coloring, and then I just wipe it on a flat surface like this. And then I just peel it off like that. You peel it off, you end up with pieces of very fleshy looking stuff. So I'm taking some of this fleshy stuff and I'm going to stuff some in the empty eye socket, and then I'm also going to cover or paint the red string to look like a bloody optical nerve and muscle. So after I flesh that out, I'm going to have some red latex paint. This is just exterior latex. I bought a sample, it's like $3 at any store. And I'm going to start painting the parts where we put the foam, so it looks like pieces of meat are still attached to the bird. For this eye socket, I'm just taking the little piece of liquid latex flesh and just cutting off a little piece that fits in there and just stuffing it in. And if you rip it, it'll give you a more natural shape. Alright, so I put the little piece of flesh in there, and on this white area I'm just going to paint it with the latex paint. I'm also going to paint the string all the way to the bottom where the glob of glue is, so it looks like it's part of the nerve, and you can paint a little red about a third down the eyeball. This looks pretty pink, but it's going to dry kind of a blood color like this. How's that looking, huh? Pretty cool. We're starting to get to the levels of yuck that I like. Now I'm going to put just a little bit of blood around this eye. Cool, huh? Right, and as I said before, I'm going to start painting all these pieces of foam with the fleshy color, with the blood color. So that piece of foam right there, then for example this one right here, we're going to paint them all. You can leave a little white if you want it to look like a little fat, but I'm going to paint most of it. You already have the color of the bone contrasting with the red. So I'm going to speed up through this process because I gotta paint this whole bird. So this is totally dry now, and as you can see it's pretty red and kind of cartoonish. But no worries, we're going to take some wood stain and I'm going to paint the whole thing with this brush with the wood stain and then wipe it off. And I'm going to wear gloves for that. I'm going to avoid the beak and the eye. I want the beak to be a bony color. Once you have painted it, like here on the top of the head, you just take your paper towel and wipe it off. A little more realistic, huh? So I'm going to continue doing this all over the bird, including the legs. If you want the stuff to look more like bone, then wipe it a little bit more, or just don't put any stain on there. Okay, just like Karate Kid. Wipe on, wipe off. And be a little bit gentle so you don't peel off the foam that you put on there. Arms up. For this next step, I'm going to just finish wiping most of the stain and I'm going to let it dry so that the glue adheres to the bird. Okay, for this next step, I'm going to take this feather boa and just pluck a few of these feathers out. And just keep in mind to do like the long ones. You can always cut it. So take something like this and just cut it. And do like the long ones for like the tail and maybe the tips of the wings. Okay, and then the short ones that are more like fluffy for like the top of our bird's head and maybe chest and back. So all I'm going to do here is grab the glue gun, put a little drop of glue on the feather and just put it where I think it should go. And there's no rhyme or reason except wherever you think it should go. I'm going to go hold on, let me do a white background so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so that is better. So as you can see, there is the feather we just put on. So from this angle, it's right there. So I'm going to keep doing this very sporadically. These wings are very square here, so I'm going to put a few feathers here to make it a little more natural. Then I'm going to have a few sticking out of the back. And then of course, the tail feathers will be the long ones. So let's start with that. See that? I'm going to put a few here down the back, maybe just a few so you can still see the backbone. Put a couple on the head. See that? That's looking pretty rough there, man. This bird did not have a very good afterlife. Alright, let's do a tail. I'm gonna get 2 or 3 really big ones and then a couple small feathers. So something about that big for the tail. See that? Just because it's such a crappy tail. Birds don't have bones on their tail. So that is the finished product. If you want a little bit more detailed pictures, you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is @monstertutorials, where I put pictures of the whole process and behind the scenes pictures, so you get a little bit better view of this. Or you can look at the little mini movie that I made with the stop motion with this bird and the story of how he came back to life from the dead. So if you think this was a really cool tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe so that you can be notified every time we have one of these cool videos. And I will see you next time.